Now we have After Effects opened up here. If you look here, you'll see this icon which allows you to create a new composition. Now if you click on it, you can actually see we have the composition settings window right here. Now on composition name here, you are able to write the name of your composition. So I'm going to type in main comp. And just remember, the composition settings are what we are going to be working in the video. So if you want, let me say, a 4K video, here's where you put your setting. After you have your composition name, okay, you can go ahead here and choose a preset. For me, I'm going to just select custom because we're going to customize all of this. Now the width and height is 1920 by 1080, which is full HD, and that is what I want. But also you have here the aspect ratio. Now the aspect ratio here, square pixels, is okay, 16 by 9, that's what I'm going for. But also you have frame rate here. Now the frame rate is what we call frames per second, how many images in a second can be displayed. Now 30 frames per second is okay, you can go 60 frames per second. If you want a jittery kind of motion, you can go with less frames per second, like 16, let's say 16 or 15 or 8, like the old cinema cameras. You have resolution here, which can be changed later, because After Effects, it's pretty heavy on your machine, your editing machine. So while editing, you will have to preview the file in a lesser resolution if you don't have much power. So full is the default, but this can always be changed later on the source monitor here. Now you have the time code here, but also the duration. Now I'm going to type in 1000 here, which is equal to 10 seconds, okay? Or you can just go ahead and type in 10 seconds here in the duration, or 5 seconds, you know, depends on what you like or what your project actually requires. Now the background color here is default black, and I like it to keep it that way instead of having, you know, some weird fancy colors like red or something. It's not going to show up in your project, it's just a background of the source monitor. And to show you exactly what I'm talking about, just click OK, and you'll see here, if I toggle off the transparency grid here, you can see it's absolutely black, but this is actually nothingness, okay? It's not going to render behind your artwork if, let me say, you have a PNG file here, okay? Because this is just the background color of the source monitor. It's not going to show up in your project. If you don't like the black, you can go ahead and choose toggle on the transparent grid here, and you can see right now it's actually transparent, but I like it to keep it black because that's the way that I like. You choose what you like, you know, it's up to you. Here we have our composition, right? If you come here on top and click on composition, you can see we have composition settings here, and if you open them up, you'll see we have the same window we were working on. So you can always go back and change your composition settings even after you have done work in your project, so don't worry about it. The source monitor here allows you to see your project, and right here you can see we have the preview settings. You can set it on auto, and it will change to increase and decrease the resolution depending on the power that it demands in your computer. You can put it on full, half, third, or quarter, depending on your machine power, okay? And also here, for example, let me activate transparency. If I select fit, you can see it's actually fit, right? But if I change, let me say I choose 12%, you can see now it's pretty small, and if I choose 400%, it has actually zoomed in here. For example, let me import here an image and set it to my timeline here. You can see if I select 400, it will actually zoom into, and this actually allows you to look close into your project. But if I select fit, you see it actually fits in the preview monitor right here. So let me go ahead and just get rid of this logo right now. On the timeline here, this is where we're going to be working on some stuff. Now if you right click here on your timeline, you can see we have a bunch of options here, but also you have composition settings right here. But also if you select new, you have different assets you can actually work with in After Effects. For example, here you have text, you have solids, you have light, you have camera, and other stuff. Okay, now solids are going to be one of the things that you will use a lot in After Effects. If I click solid here, we get this window. Okay, now this window allows you to actually change the name of the solid. I'm going to write it black. Okay, it has matched the resolution of our comp. Here you can actually change the color. You can make it, let me say, red, and click OK. Now if you click here OK, you can see now we have this red solid. Now let me deactivate the transparent grid here, and you can see now this is actually flexible. We can actually play around with this and create an artwork. Now, something people never talk about is once you create a solid, how do you go back and change the solid settings? For example, what you need to do is actually select your solid, come to layer, and you can see here we have solid settings. If you click on it, you will be greeted back with the same window that popped up when you created a new solid. And right here you can go back and change the color, and let me say you choose maybe this blue right here and click OK, and just like that you'll have your solid changed. What I want you to do right now is open up After Effects once again, create a new composition, set it to HD 1920 by 1080, 4K, you choose the frame rates that you want, change the duration, go ahead and create a bunch of solids and close it up. Once you do that, you'll be ready for the third episode where I'm going to be teaching you about transform options, and that's when things start to get a little bit interesting.